Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful evening. Let's get into this today. We're having almost an exciting day, honestly, if you want to call it that, to be 100% frank. Let's look at this chart. Well, we're actually having quite a sideways day, and I was hoping at some point right here we actually had a chance of establishing something out of this day, but we ended up having again a sideways day. But I guess everybody's going to be more curious about me tackling this beast that is just completely outperformed all expectations. Again, I've given you this 67 12 resistance that we spoke about, and it played out perfectly just as expected. But then again, this. We'll tackle this. We'll tackle this a little bit later. First, let's start with the regular shenanigans, which is the S&P. Let's see what the S&P is doing. The S&P is kind of flat. All in all, we've gone down, we've gone up within what would be obviously a flat range. Within the shorter time sort of channel, for example, on the minute. But really, we have done pretty much nothing throughout the day. Just another burnt out day. Now let's look at what is up to come. If anything, what is more likely to come. So since we are moving into the edge of the session, we have roughly about an hour left. So there's not much really to look at here. The 5 minutes are probably going to stay maybe a little bit more overbought, maybe even testing that range, which sort of matches with this high, giving us a short range double top. Hello, Michalis. I was actually worried about the chat today, extra quiet. I guess people are extra busy, but just observing. So that's cool. That's cool. I appreciate that. All right, so let's look at the 30 minutes. 30 minutes is actually rather bullish at face value. I mean, this is bullish. Let's be honest. On the other hand, if we're looking at hello, Mike. If we're looking at 30 minutes, since all we're going to get from this is probably the end of this session, I would probably argue, you know what, let's just look at what the 45 gives us. The 45 already starting to curve suspiciously, right? We're having a bit of a curve right here. Does that mean necessarily that our entire bullish momentum is dying down? No, it just means that we're probably going to go for a convergence divergence behavior right here on behalf of the stochastic RSI. We know exactly what that means. That means more of this sort of sideways price action. We might fill that range, basically. In other words, whoop, we're probably talking about this sort of thing right there. We're still moving within that range. I'm not going to be surprised if that's what the market will do. Come on, show up. Give me the longer range one. Here it is. Since we don't have anything nearby, I would argue that right now what we should be looking at is this sort of structure that we're formulating right here, it seems, and maybe testing the wedge, at least for what is looking at the 45 minutes. So let's look at the 1 hourly. 1 hourly is actually somewhat bullish because it's being rejected by the oversold territory, the below the 20% basically. That is actually rather bullish behavior. Let's be honest about that. The fact of the matter that it sort of breaks off of this 20% and you have the K, the green line right here that represents your bullish momentum actually being significantly dominant with clear divergence. So that is actually rather bullish, not gonna lie. This is quite interesting. Especially on the hourly, that means that it almost implies that tomorrow might be a little bit more bullish than we expect, since we are running out of time and we basically have just 1 hour left. This, on the other hand, is actually starting to make a little bit more sense, since if you remember, I've said what we're going to see probably is attempt at that 6,000 area, maybe with some slippage, of course, we've mentioned that, but then we are about to start a correction. We'll see where does that come about. But now already on the 4 hourly, we're starting to get some suspicious sort of noise and behavior, where we're seeing clear convergence on the top end right here. When you see that, that is very much indicative of the forces converging, diverging, and subsequently switching over. Otherwise, you will see the asset moving on with a clear divergence between the two forces. The fact that the bearish sort of momentum catching up with the bullish indicates that potentially we see the breakdown of the bullish momentum shortly. Alrighty, so let's look at the day. The day is actually bullish. Let's be honest, the daily chart, again, our expectation was that we're going to have some convergence, divergence, and move subsequently to the downside. Really, that does not happen yet. In fact, we have penetrated into overbought territory, which gives us a little bit more bullish momentum, which actually starts to look very weird to me. Then again, the further out we go, when we look at this, what we see at face value, we see, yes, more bullish momentum, absolutely. We're seeing this, again, where we're starting to get the smell of the bullishness, if you will, from all these smaller time frames. But remember, the bigger problem we have in this whole scenario happens to happen right here, and it sort of correlates and coordinates very neatly with what we're seeing here, the breakdown of that bearish momentum and the convergence divergence of the forces. In other words, basically K taking dominance, K representative of this bullish momentum, moving average of basically of the volume and how quickly the asset in particular is being sort of bought over a period of time. Based on the convergence of volume and period of time. So that's how we actually end up with at an overbought territory, so strong with more bullish momentum. That seems like people are basically, so my argument was, if you remember, we were talking about this very next candlestick because we're seeing that this candlestick penetrated and broke through the range, and last time we've done that, that was around let me remind you when that was. That was last time when we have met that range. Here it is. You can see it. And when we do, of course, we can have some slippage over these lines. It doesn't mean immediately we break. In fact, you can see that very same behavior that I often mentioned, that we're going to move into a wedge and then the market starts to break. So first it takes that period of time at which we start testing that resistance, at which we are exactly right now. Let's look at this. Let's look at that beautiful thing. We are looking at this. All right, perfect. So you see, we are now kind of in a similar range, although this time around we were not stopped by the range the same way we were before, and we had just the wicks penetrating. We actually find ourselves starting and generating the new very next candlestick already above the range. And my suspicion, what we're going to see very shortly, is that breakdown will correlate very neatly with this range and then subsequently with the ranges we spoke about before. That is why the expectation to the breakdown still stands as it was. In my 500, as safe as called hope price 300% by 2025, and due to Trump's policy already, I'm up 18%. I'm not sure I understand the question, Keith. Is my 500s safe in KOLD hope? Okay, so you want to look at KOLD. Let's look at KOLD, and that's actually a good question, since I don't think we have taken a look at KOLD. Ignore that, that's just some comparison we were doing earlier with one of the members on the Discord. KR. Oh, ignore that, that's my back. All right, let's see. I'm assuming that's what we're talking about, right? Right. No, that's obviously not what we're talking about. What are you talking about there, if not this? I'm a bit confused there, Keith. If you can elaborate, that will help a lot. I will be able to 300% by 1995, and due to Trump's policy, already I'm up 18%. Interesting. I'm curious what that is that you're talking about, Keith, and what that is that I would be very curious to hear you elaborate on what it is that you're talking about. All right, so since Keith is right now quiet and probably writing, let's look at Palantir and this craziness, because I think that's what everybody's more or less curious about. So let's look at this. This is bananas, boys and girls. This is freaking bananas. First of all, I will remind you that we have a gigantic gap, a hole. Some of you will say, Greg, well, we've been not dealing with these for a while. Yeah. You know, if you look at COVID, for example, it took about a year to close a particular gap there, or even longer at some point. So I'm not going to be surprised whether this is going to take longer or quicker. It's not about that. Right now, we are moving within this range. So that puts this gap kind of out of bounds, I will say. So if we're moving downwards immediately, yeah, I mean, honestly, Mike, I will admit I feel a little bit of a disappointment with my own self. Rather, I have to be honest. Again, it's all very my. If you remember, first of all, my perception is, you guys. Hi, other Mike. Um, if you look at my analysis from before, what you will see is that I was saying that Palantir is bullish. The perception of the breakdown was based upon the S&P, which was not expected to rally that high, basically to break slightly earlier, right? So this is sort of predicated on how high this got. In fact, I forecasted a breakdown at around 5,400 ish, 55, 54 range. That was sort of the top range that I thought we're going to be able to penetrate. So in fact, we've completely outpaced my my expectation. Problem is that it's still rallying. That is a big problem, actually, Michalis. That this is a big problem, and the problem is it appears to be rallying, right? Because it appears you appear to have still enough bullish momentum, but I cannot ignore what is sort of signing, what we're getting signal of in the background. And the biggest problem, once it does break down, which can happen pretty much any moment now, we saw that happen before, and when it does, as we said, we move up in the stairs and go down by the elevator. That's going to be so rapid, by the time people will be able to even react, it's going to be roughly around something like this area, let's say, and they will say, well, no longer willing to take the losses because they were already sitting at 6,000 and now they're looking basically at 57, and we're like, no, hopefully everything will be better. Hi, Casey. But that's not how things work. We have to look at things objectively, right? So let's look at Palantir truly to what its signal sort of shows rather than what we think based upon, right? Let's just look at what Palantir says at face value. First of all, it is already problematic on the daily chart, for example. We will not be able to go through that range and to actually go back, but let's see where the bigger range is. Come on. Do I have a bigger range? If I don't have a bigger range, that's going to be very disappointing, although I'm rather certain I should have one. Here it is. That's how it should look like on the daily. Shouldn't we have it already? Or my memory does not serve me well. No? All right. So it's not setting it up. That means we don't have it yet. We have the one we have here is on the 4 hours. That's probably why, because I've correlated with the daily. Let's look at what we have right here. All right. So really what's going on, if you're going to be objective about this, it seems like the price action was moving along this resistance, right? And at some point, just like here before, we had some abnormalities, right? The market can go higher than it normally can. I would argue that we're probably moving into this wedge. This is sort of what this appears to be doing right now, based upon this bullish momentum. We're still having enough bullish momentum to be retained. Even if we do break down back to 67, we still will retain that formation. That formation does not necessarily mean, yes, we end up testing these the same we ended up testing this, but still breaking down, right? So let's be objective about this. Let's see what the daily shows us. Daily, again, is very bullish. Well, it's bullish, but not, can we say very? It's more or less flat, but starting to accelerate by having the divergence between the two forces. I'm sorry, 1 second. I'm still sick, sorry. Sorry for that, boys and girls. Apologies. But if we look at our weekly, we're already starting to see something very problematic. What we know is the asset can spend some time in overbought territory, but eventually when it starts breaking down, it will be very quick and very painful. So how can we translate this to this, right? Let's be objective. First region we have to test is probably our previous support, that 67.12 that we've just mentioned, coincidentally is the bottom of the temporary channel, the shorter range. Remember, you notice how they're correlated. Now afterwards we're probably going to test, I mean, you see the 62, right? But it's slightly high, right? It's kind of around here. So I would argue what we will be testing is that golden pocket. We have it around 59.40 and 58.67. And I know all of you guys want to believe that, yeah, yes, to the moon, this way, guys. This is insanity. You're lucky you got this. Remember, this channel is not about financial advice. You guys do whatever you want. At the end of the day, I was wrong, and I predicted the stock to break far earlier, giving it the highest it could was, what was it, around 54-ish. And that was completely abnormal. Really, I've estimated it to stop somewhere around right here, 45, as you can see, 46, call it, whatever. So we outperformed my expectation. You can say, well, Greg, you were wrong, right? Don't forget, Greg was right many other times. Yes, the market can be rational longer than it can be solvent. And absolutely, based upon this, it is far more rational, far more safe to assume that the market will be correcting sooner than later. The fact that you are able to enjoy a more significant rally that you should have had, hypothetically, right? At the end of the day, when we're getting artificial sort of push from the market, you shouldn't. Again, it's not something you should be complaining about. Oh, you thought the market will break earlier. If you've got to enjoy it, cool, but this is unsustainable. I'm just going to say it out loud. This is unsustainable. If you think that from here on out we're going to continue upwards, more power to you. Stay, I would say, even buy more, right? If that's what you think. Again, not financial advice. In my opinion, the way we should perceive this, the correct way, is that we had far too exuberant market for far too long. Yes, that's something that can happen. And I would be very attentive to the interest rate numbers, to how the Fed narrative will look like, the CPI reports, the jobless claims. I think some of these things that became somewhat uninteresting for a lot of people will become very interesting again very soon. And very soon they will be part of the grand catalyst that will bring the market down. In fact, those who stayed all along, for all of you 20-some people, by the way, thank you to all the new members, by the way, if I didn't say that, shout out to all of you legends. I still have the Black Friday sale going on. In fact, if I can bring it up, the Patreon is patreon.com investory, right? That's ignore these two tiers, although I have a crazy member who already signed up for this $25 tier. Gigantic shout out and thank you. This is a VIP tier. I don't know why it's still refusing to show me the new icons and stuff I've set up. I don't know, but they look better than this. They look more similar to something cool like this. It sucks for the moment, but basically what I want to point out is you guys can sign up for $1 right now to join in, and it's going to be the founding members, and eventually we'll be locked in and nobody will be able to access. Right now, this is still part of the Black Friday sale, by the way. Right here, this is the promo code you need to use in order to get that. That's the BF90. Okay, I just wrote it in the chat. Capital letter BF, no space, 90. This is how you get 90% on this $10 tier. Basically, you get to join. Thank you for all the new members who joined in. By the way, I was finally able to get from Patreon the ability to allow my Patreons to actually sign up and prepay annually in advance. That basically you secure your tier in advance, no headache, you don't have to deal with none of that stuff. You can do that right now. It actually has changed to even all the old members. They can check it out now. Do this change. Quite convenient, I would say. And you get a discount. You get a significant discount annually. I think it's like 20%, by the way. So that's about that. Don't rush and do that right now, of course. When you have your tier run out and the discount run out, of course, then use that. I will be able to give you then, I'll probably start another sort of campaign or something, we'll see, but right now let's focus on this. This is more important than the Patreon. But just wanted to say a big thank you to all the members who joined in. So yeah, let's go back to the chat. I'm bullish, but not this bullish at this point. I'm speechless. Yeah, oh yeah, I am. Likewise, Mike. This is insane. This is complete and utter insanity. If you would have told me this is what you forecast, again, I would have just said you're completely utterly wrong. This does not make any logical sense, because I would have said that simply the S&P will not be able to endure that long, right? And if the indices will break subsequently, Palantir will break. Palantir is not going to stay afloat when the market goes to shit. Pardon the French. Howdy, Casey. Yes, sorry, I didn't, or I have. I think I have. I might have said something. Blackberry, good to see you. Thank you for joining in. A correction will come at some point. Doesn't matter when. That's how the market works. That actually does matter when. I'll tell you what, Blackberry. The SQQQ position I'm holding, although I'm amplifying it still, it does eat away and it does feel unpleasant as you go with it. It does take a certain threshold of pain in order to endure this sort of processes. But I absolutely agree with you. This is inevitable. In fact, the worse it gets, people think the higher we get, the higher the floor gets. Basically, the bottom that we will reach when dropping, subsequently this floor will be higher. That's actually not necessarily true. In fact, can be somewhat different from what people expect it to be, and the bottom will still pretty much stay in the vicinity that where it is. And when we do drop and correct, people will be horrified by how low we can drop. Notice that entities like Goldman Sachs are actually predicting a lost decade again. I'm not saying we might be, maybe if we combine COVID and the upcoming downwards wave, we could be looking at a lost decade altogether. Sure, you never know these things until they kind of finalize and, formulate the entire structure, right? We're right now probably midway. So I would argue that sooner or later, pardon me, we will see soon a very steep downwards pressure that people will be caught, sort of by surprise by, and will remain in the market, will not sell by hoping the market is bullish, generally speaking, so it will correct and everything will be fine, and then caught off guard by a secondary movement that will bring them so much lower to the point where it's going to be pretty much pointless to get out. They will not be able to endure that loss of ROI, and they will continue to be hopeful. At some point, they'll simply not be able to endure that pain, and will say, you know what, I'm just going to sit out and wait and DCA into it, right? And that's how it's going to be. And of course, we'll recognize the bottom when everybody will agree, so I'm forgetting the word altogether. Basically, that the bottom is there. Basically, whether you're a bull or a bear doesn't matter. Sometimes the stock market just doesn't make any sense. No, it's just that the stock market doesn't make any sense. In fact, we saw the bullish momentum in Palantir. We saw the bullish momentum in Tesla, in fact, as well. Don't forget, we spoke and said the technical analysis, or at face value, if we're looking at the individual assets, actually looks rather bullish. And again, right now, even if looking at Tesla, right now, we're rather bullish, right? At face value, objectively. It doesn't matter if the indices, the sort of the ground within which these flowers grow, if you will, gets poisoned and starts, getting poisoned, if you will, or breaking down. In other words, if the indices break down because of the overall inflationary conditions on the overall market, right? If we're talking about this heat map, when we're looking at the heat map, we're going to see that, look, if you notice, for example, the last couple of days, again, the only green that we're getting is from the major tech, a couple of spots of, heat from here and there. But generally speaking, once we see this tech unable to sustain and hold this market up, we're going to see everything go down already, because it's already going down. And if you've been attentive and noticed the rest of the stock market, even though those assets who actually enjoyed a bit of a rally recently will probably go for a correction relatively soon. And you actually see that on the technical analysis on the individual assets as well. Of course, when you have something so skewed like Palantir and Tesla that are, well, in all honesty, relatively new assets, you don't have the full cycle of the price action to create that moving average to show you that actually it's about to overturn. It simply is not old enough. That is the example that we show actually on this chart, right? Notice the way we're able to conclude that, for example, this correction is very visible on NVIDIA, which we have right here in the green, okay, is going to come. That correction will come from the S&P. By the way, notice how they're all starting to basically curve downwards. How instead of having this very steep upwards movement, we're basically curving sideways, right? You're starting to notice that breakdown of the momentum, and that is visible again. If you look in comparison, you look objectively at the asset, you realize that although some parts of the market are still rallying, the market on the grand scheme of things is actually, well, preparing for a deeper correction. And we're starting to see these signs come from everywhere. The mistake was expecting the market to break earlier and meet with the assets, basically, because the assets will start dropping together and you're going to have a convergence of them the same way we saw before, how they basically move in tandem, especially during corrective times, right? You can see this simultaneous correction on all assets pretty much. Well, that is, yeah, the market is a bit crazy. We have to acknowledge the pink elephant in the room, you know. Where Nvidia is doing nothing abnormal. We know it's still fighting that 140 area, 141. The next step, my expectation is to actually see Nvidia break back down to this area that we're having right here. It's 124. We have the 118 area, of course. We have here right above 78, and we have our golden pocket right below this area. We have the 100 still, 95 and 91. Remember, these locations are going to be very major, especially with this other Fib retracement level at 90.47. In other words, we have several sort of layers, sets of supports and resistances that are going to take place. Currently, we're in the higher one. Then we're going to go back to this previous tier. We can see it right here, right? That sort of area. Pardon me for my inability to draw. I know you're like, Greg, what is this? This is that slippage. That is that abnormality. Even if we're going to see over a longer period, the market stayed within the framework of these ranges, right? Even though penetrating upwards for a little bit and then doing this for a year on end and then just breaking down, you're going to say, you know what, Greg, you were right. This was the actual channel we were in. Right now, it's hard to tell because we're creating this head. If you will, what are you looking at here is basically known as head and shoulders. You have that shoulder right here. Again, you have your bottom right here, your high, somewhere bottom here, some high, and some bottom eventually, like that. Okay, just to give you an idea of what I'm expecting the market to do. That is Nvidia and overall tech, by the way. If we're looking at overall tech, again, we're seeing this high that corresponds with this, right? They're kind of one and the same, if you will. How do we know that? Here, we know that through this. We have no doubt about this, in fact, right? Let's remove the auto, otherwise it'll be stuck in all of them. Now, want to move just no, I have to move them individually. Crap it. Yeah, well, I have to rebalance that then, so what's the point? Let's just keep it the way it is. I'm gonna clean it up and zoom out for you. It's gonna be simpler, right? That way. You can see we're all in convergence, finally at a single spot. Right here. You want to wonder what the assets are. The assets are Tesla, SPX, Nvidia in green, and Palantir in black. Okay, these are the assets. And now when we put them all together, we can see where we sit. And this is why, by the way, we don't have that moving average on Palantir and Tesla. This is your Palantir. It starts right here, so thus we don't have that period of time that is necessary. And your Tesla, which I probably should have done, that would have been a lot smarter of me to do this way, right? It'll make a lot more sense. That is Tesla for you, the red one. Okay, red is Tesla, green Nvidia, and Tesla just started right here, and thus you don't have that necessary moving average that you actually have with Nvidia and of course the SPX. So that's what we're saying. That moving average is visible only on the SPX. Why? Simply because the other assets are not old enough to generate it. Nvidia is the only one that has something very similar. Yeah, another quick shout out to the Discord community. Hey, Stonky, you're sitting there. So that's the Discord. I am still working on something. Why is that doing that every time I move? We have a trading room for people who want to trading discussions. The auditorium when I do more of this sort of lecture type of thing. Here we do our tickers, right? For example, today we have Mike. Mike, shout out to you. Looks like, yeah. Okay, so Mike just pointed out this ABCL and AB Celera Biologics Incorporated, and I've given it a look. Of course, put down my charts and analysis. Of course, we have the other regular assets we talk about here, the plug, and of course, the more assets will be added eventually with time. We're going to more it's going to be built up. We have the partition for our Academy members, which I'm working on right now, adding notes from the Academy to those who done the one-on-one. By the way, almost forgot. Okay, so there is another promo that I'm doing right now for those who want to join my one-on-one academy temporarily until I have just now 3 spots available. These 3 spots, instead of 2,500 for the academy for the first module, right, will be able to sign up for 2,000. Okay, so $500 discount. Don't forget to sign up. It will be applicable only for the next 3 spots. Since I'm a little bit sick, we're gonna of course maybe postpone the beginning of that academy. Of course, remember it's a 1-1, so it doesn't matter, by a little bit, maybe by a week or so, but still now is the time to sign up, because that will be posted actually on Tom's Discord as well and everywhere. So just giving you a heads up about this one-on-one academy where I teach, and you're gonna have this eventually when I'm working on this right now. All the area from what you will learn in the academy, you will be able to access based upon the tier that you've purchased and what you have learned and all that beautiful stuff. Of course, we have our meme section, all sorts of fun stuff, mainly that I post. People are kind of half participating, whatever, all sorts of nonsense. Right now, the RP is more like, men, women sort of dynamics, music. Of course, main chat where everybody are now kind of participating and starting to take, hold. By the way, these are tickers, as I've mentioned before, and get to know the community. So that is that. Plenty of members. Thank you for all the new joining members, by the way. We are now closing at, like, I think altogether 100 plus members altogether, like 120. Remember, private server, so it's not going to blow up like a public server, so it takes time, of course. I post breaking news, geopolitics, all that wonderful stuff. That's a quick shout out to that. That's it. Yeah, by the way, don't miss out, because again, $1. Just $1 for now. You don't like it, leave after the $1 subscription expires. The promo code for that is BF90. Black Friday, and I think it's gonna be over with tonight. Right? I think that's how I set it up. That's the promo code. So use it. Was a chance that PLTR just keeps going up? Did it even happen before? No, it has not happened before. In any other stuff. Interesting. So you're asking whether we had an asset that kept on rallying while the rest of the market started correcting. No, not in the correction of the magnitude that we're expecting, at least I'm expecting or I'm seeing. What can happen is based upon all the bullish momentum that you will have on Palantir. What you will have is Palantir basically dropping slower, what will end up with the indices and maybe other assets already reaching a lower price, right, and starting to create a bottom, while Palantir is just kind of still on the way, right, kind of like this. And the market will start rallying, oftentimes it will end up catching up, and what you will have is this almost softer landing, if you will. Not even a landing altogether, because the asset might not even reach that low. Yes, that can happen if the asset is really truly being bought, in tremendous amounts as the market is correcting. But that's very difficult, because oftentimes you're not going to see people buying into a very risk-on asset when the market is correcting, especially people that will be, you'll see the asset being oversold tremendously because people are seeing their existent ROI that is sitting at like 300% at this point, starting to lose momentum at tremendous speed. So yeah. Emil, hey, since you're in SQQQ, do you think the Nasdaq will crash? Absolutely, together will crash further because of the current AI bubble that we are. Okay, I see what you're asking, because yeah, it's more tech oriented than being. Verification has outgrown the current growth of underlying assets. Absolutely, yeah, yes, Emil. I do expect. It's a phenomenon we see always. S&P is the safest asset to be, especially in a crash. Why? Because, well, Nasdaq tends to have far more severe, sort of deeper correction based upon percentages and effect of these assets on the index itself, right? And because of its price, because of the volume, because of the momentum, it ends up being crashing lower, quicker in relative terms to the S&P. S&P actually retains safety with staples and everything that sort of retains value as it drops slower, basically, right? Because you get the average of everything. And the Russell will have a lot more pain and will tend to have more pain in such a scenario, simply because it's more risk on assets, far more risk on assets, and people will be out of fear because those are smaller assets and oftentimes are bought by the sort of the retail participant that is far more sensitive to minor changes in the market. People will start opting out. So yes, absolutely. Basically, oftentimes the S&P ends up being the safest spot to be. Emil, so correct. But it doesn't matter to me if I look at the SQQQ all in all. Our previous bottom that we were at, and we had these moments of correction below the bottom, is comparable to that 31.81. Here you can see that before. Let me show you. It will take me a while this way, but here I can show you how that same area, you see, what were we doing? We're repeating the same old song from before. We're basically scraping the bottom. Although the market was pushing higher, we stayed flat pretty much. So you see, for me, it doesn't really matter. It's just another opportunity to buy more SQQQ, which I am planning on. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm planning to buy more SQQQ tomorrow. That is my plan. Currently, I'm holding 580 because that is post the reverse split, being 2,900 shares, now squeezed to be 580. Okay, and that is what I have right now. 1 second, sorry, pardon me. Sorry, pardon me. My throat is still iffy. Do you have any expectations on how long can the SPX rally before it breaks? I think that we're at the edge right now, and but I've said this before, and I was wrong before. Based upon what we're seeing on the SPX and on the monthly, we are any moment now, any moment. Even this is stinky. Although it has more room to go into overbought territory and only then break and actually spend time in it, but this is very highly prolonged. And if we look at the monthly, this is just stupid. This is phenomenal. We've been riding this same wave since, if you will, again, objectively speaking, since January 23. So soon it will be 2 years that we've been riding the same wave. I'm sorry to say this wave will come to an end soon. And this is just my projection and based upon this resistance and momentum, obviously. It's just kind of what we're seeing. Hello, Leo. Good question there. Good question. Yeah, I don't think I've missed anything. So, boys and girls, other questions? Anything else you maybe want to ask? Now is the time. If you're not going to ask questions, you know what's going to happen here. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be annoying. I'm going to plug my thing. You know, I'm gonna plug this investor thing. You know, that thing. I'm gonna plug that thing. Sign up, $1, BF90 promo code. Don't sign up to these. Some crazy people already signed up. Please don't sign up to these. Please don't. They are still a work in progress. So don't sign up to these. Sign up to that. And now you can also have annual payment and all sorts of cool stuff that Patreon finally is allowing me to do. So yeah, and don't forget, all the activity is done on Discord. You see there's a welcome message. Dear new Patreon, please read this. This Patreon will contain no content. All the activities, hangout calls, posts, discussions, etc. will be held on the Discord server. Please use the attached link to join us. You see, this one, okay? So join us on the Discord. That is this Discord. This is where we hang out. The main thing is when we sit right here in the open forum on a daily basis. And yeah, hang out. Hello, Stonky. Good day. Talk to you later. Like that, pretty much. Although, Stonky, I'm live. Be careful. Be careful what you say. I'm live right now, sir. But yeah, this is where we hang out. I'm currently doing a live. Yeah, this is live right now. Live. Are you on the live or you're not on the live? Shame on you. Off with your head.
I'll join you guys there.
Ah, that's it. Shame on you. Shame. Shame. But tell them how cool the Discord is. Since I already got you on the spot, tell them how cool the Discord is and the hangouts we have here. By the way, yesterday we had a members hangout as well. I mean, all the Discord is just purely members. So yeah, don't forget to join the members and everybody and hang out with us. And yeah, cool stuff. That's it. That's the plug. Let's remove all that nonsense.
Yeah. That was a fun one.
Oh my god, I got you riled up. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Hey, Leo is here. Love you, boys. Love you, boys. Much love. I'm going back to the live. Sorry, I'm gonna drop not to have any, accidents. See you later, boys. All right. So yeah, that was. At least you got some entertainment here on the actual live. But yeah, don't just check out the Discord. Actually, join us when we hang out. Hey, shitter, good to see you. Yeah. Confirm Gregory spits truth on these hangouts. Hell yeah, brother! I'm the coolest rapper. Thing, actually, that's Patrick Boyle. I'm not gonna steal his shtick. Yeah, absolutely. So join us on the Discord, the Hangouts, and all that beautiful stuff. Fuck the wood. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Stonky? Just for you, my lovely brother. Since you've been a good brother, and we haven't looked at this but please. Okay, so we just switch assets. Let's take a look at our nice little pluggy. What is our pluggy doing? Not really anything. By the way, those who wonder, we foresaw a breakout on plug since here, just to tell you how long and certain things get prolonged. Just saying. Of course, we understood that that's not going to happen here. We had a potential exit here, and since then, yeah, we've been waiting for another potential exit, which we forecast to come within the following months. But we're still waiting. As you can see, we still have a bit of pain in the system to be had. So we're dancing around the $2 mark, which sort of doesn't matter. But it does appear as if we're moving more and more bullish over time, and eventually successfully breaking that 2.5 area right here, that is actually was our floor from before and now poses as ceiling, right? You can see now it is ceiling. Basically, it was floor, ceiling, now support, resistance, just to kind of explain the difference. But we're slowly moving into overbought territory, and we're starting to pick up momentum. I know it's not clear, but those who understand the value of seeing these higher lows understand that we're potentially looking here at a movement and a breakout eventually out of that 2.5 area based upon the energy sector. Jeebus Greg. Alrighty. Jeebus gets things wrong sometimes. Anyways, as Greg said, do join us on Discord to enjoy the company of dumb chat room features such as me and Greg. Absolutely, no, I don't know, dumb but a bit crazy. Sure, absolutely, we do get crazy there a bit sometimes. Leo is quite a feature. I wouldn't call him dumb. I feel that I'll have the audacity to do that yet. But yeah. Mama is there, everybody's there. All the members you see here on the chat, of course, are there. Cool questions. Yesterday we had really interesting questions. We ended up, I don't remember what we started with, but we ended up talking about crypto. In fact, I was so tired yesterday after several sessions and several things and everything all together. I thought I might have not, I might have was about to skip the session, but ended up just not being able to, and it was actually a lot of fun. So don't miss out. Those who join in are, of course, all of you, all the members are have the access to these hangouts and have the access to hang out with us on a daily basis. So please do use that. Well, the market is, what is the market doing? Market is not doing much. Let me just remove some of that crap and nonsense. Market is actually, I was expecting today the market to do something. Leo here can vouch. I was expecting the market to actually give us a little bit more interesting price action. We ended up having, again, a nothing burger, if you will, all in all. And, beautiful, like that. So it was pretty much a nothing burger. I did foresee here the ability to close that leftover gap that we had, and we were just pretty much inching on doing that. Eventually ended up, again, just sticking to that range that we're in right now. I believe that by the following day or so, we will see that gap getting closed. And yeah, but we look, I'll tell you what, based upon what we're seeing, we're pretty much a second away from that thing. And in fact, remember, the market can get prolonged further than we expect, but even that has a limit. Simply when people will start selling, people will start taking profits off the table, and I assure you that is gonna happen any second now. Again, Apple, if we're looking at Apple and how Apple haven't done any significant moves to justify that. Nvidia, we are seeing a lot of assets that are being basically, running far too hot for far too long, and based upon the technicals, this correction is coming, and you can see the overall market we're starting to see sell-offs on all fronts here, a little bit here and there. We're having more red days on the grand scheme of things, and I believe that very shortly we will see something that will feel a lot more red to everybody, actually, on all fronts. Could you look at CRNT? No, absolutely. That will be the last one, though. I was about to adjourn this meeting, but sure, let's do CRNT. Why not? CRNT. Let's look at CRNT. What is that we're looking at? First of all, let me see the daily right here. Give me the weekly here for a sec. That was, of course, that makes sense. Tech. What did we do during, okay, housing, whoa, wait, what? Wait, no, that's pre. So that's the drop into it. Sure, okay, that makes sense. That's the rally out. That is, where do we have our COVID? Where's COVID? Where's COVID? COVID, I mean, COVID? Huh? Okay. I mean, coolsies? Okay. That's actually not that bad. You are right now at resistance. First of all, let's acknowledge that you are at resistance this very second. Right now, there is a line there. It is, call it, let's see, what do we call it? We call it this or we call it that? Damn it, let me just go smaller. Let me shrink. I have a suspicion we call it that. I would probably call it both in a way, but let me just Yeah, that's definitely that. And there's a secondary one that is right above it. I would argue it's um, probably this one. No, my God. Oh my God. Like that. And here we can see it right here. We can see it right here. We can see it right here. Yeah, I got them both right. And now, actually, you know what? Let me be. I'm being lazy. I'm being lazy. I shouldn't be doing that. What should we do? That is not a single impulse. Damn it! Does it have to suck so bad? That would be. So that would be its peak out. How low does it go? It lows goes. I have a feeling that this is give me a second here. I'm gonna do this weird thing for you. Actually, let me just let me, instead of breaking my head, let me just look at this for a sec. Yeah, of course, that is same old trick in the book. Right, brain not work, huh? What did I just? Oh, right. Magic, huh? Magic, boys and girls, magic. That's how it's done. That means that means it's this, and yeah, that's like 7. So let's call it a 7. Let's call this a 7. And magic, right? See? Magic. You want to see how magical this is? Check this out. Where's that 7? What do you say? Magic or not magic? Magic or not magic? Magic or not magic? And how about the rest of the supports and resistances? Magic? You see, the assessment, this is something I've been trying to tell you about Palantir, guys and girls. Notice, even though I was wrong about the outcome, I was still correct about every single support and resistance that we've tested on our way there. Every single one, down to the point. So, I mean, there's a bit of magic that apparently goes into technicals that actually works. Time to waste. What? BTC. Wait, now we were doing this. Just wait. Just wait. Hold on. Let's just finish this first. Stop bragging. This sucks. It's gonna be what? 6 to 7 probably. Yep. Yep. Here's your 6 doing its thing. Cool. Cool these. Okay. Now that we've got that established, let's look at this. So first of all, you're going back. You're going back to whatever that is, whether it's this area or this area. That's first step. Second step. you are gonna remain bullish. That means probably going back to this. So even though testing, you're here. Even though testing, you're there. But that is not cool. That is not looking cool for you. That flattening of the curve right here that you have right there and the momentum, that thing is not cool for you. That convergence divergence behavior, right? That is not cool. But this is very confusing. And no data? Data. Interesting. This is actually indicative of you trying to make it way back here-ish, and maybe then, only then correct. But actually, this is bullish. I know, it's confusing, but it is actually bullish. Look at this. Bullish dominant and converging back up, clear movement, diverging very well. Yeah, this is positive. Oh, Scheisse! I forgot about this thing on the middle of the screen. That was not meant to be. Forgot about it. Forgot all about it. Yeah. All right. That's what you get on that one. So even though you're going to have some temporary correction on it, some temporary pain, don't get too worried about it. It seems like you're far more inclined to go up. And actually, it seems like since you didn't overreact during COVID, kinda, I'm gonna say that you might be floating with this one. Might be. Worst case scenario, you're just gonna break down back to this, 1.5. This is just slippage below the 1.5 to that 188, whatever, to that 0.88. But really, your obvious support right there is this 1.5. Here it is. Call it this. Here. You can kind of see it. Market was pulling up from it. Sometimes, yeah. Market having a bad day, week, weekend, whatever, month. Several months, actually. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months-ish, almost a year of pain. That happens. To all assets. Here, for example, it was worse. It was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think we're 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 months, 20, 21 months, kind of in that range. So, yeah. Same magic makes airplane fly. Oh, Black. Okay. So yeah, that's what you're having here. This is your magic, sir. This is you. You're still, because what's going on here that you have this lower range. Stop it. You have that lower range. Just move this here. You have that lower range, right? Which you were within right here, all that beautiful stuff. And then you have the higher range, which is here. And you have abnormalities like these. Why? Because the market is the market. But generally right now, your main trend is actually this thing. That's your main range, if you will. Sorry. This. This to this. 1, 2, 3. That's your thing right now. Moves from 270-ish, 150-ish, sorry. From 150-ish to 6-7-ish. Kind of, that's your range, really, to be more precise about it. But yeah. That's it, boys and girls. I think we are done for today. Wish you all a wonderful evening. I hope you had fun. Sign up for the Patreon. $1. $1. It is $1. What are you gonna lose with $1? Come and hang out. You don't like? Take leave after $1. Take back your $1. $1. I can't do voices today because of the throat thing. I'm feeling, you can hear my throat is just kind of back and forth, but yeah. Bargain $1. That is true. For $1, I mean, that's just for free. Let's be freaking honest. This is just for free. But I hope more of you will stay afterwards and will be founding members. Remember, those who will be the founding members, eventually this tier will be locked and nobody will be able to join on it. And all the tiers will be from 20 and up. So just saying, or 25 really and up. So, yeah, it's gonna be the current founding tier is going to be basically locked, and it's going to be the founding members who are there in the beginning and who will be able to openly claim and say, oh, I was there from the beginning, support this, that, and everything. You'll have the badge of honor to show it. Yeah, that's it, boys and girls. Join us on Patreon and of course on Discord. Otherwise, you cannot join. That's the whole shtick right there. Where is it? That is the address right here on the screen. It is patreon.com/investory, like that. And so you join us there, and then you join us on the Discord. One last final plug, I swear. Never again. No, I'm lying. Never lie. But yeah, join us here. Add your tickers. Talk to us. Talk to me. Talk to the members. Have fun. Boys and girls, love you much. I'll see you on the next one. Oh yeah, smash the like.